Well, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Pro Synth Network Live. If you're not aware already, the Pro Synth Network is a group on Facebook that you can join up. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if you enjoyed it. Got loads of new stuff coming up tonight. It's been quite an eventful week. So I'm joined by three other special guests, and I'll introduce you all at once, gentlemen. We have Dr. Mike Metlay.
Hello, you nice people in the computer.
Dave Bryce.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
Yeah, and as always, my co-host this evening, sporting a lovely Pro Synth Network hoodie that I see, Mr. Spong. The remarkable synth engineer, Mr. Ken Spong.
Leave me alone. I'm eating my Yorkshire pudding.
and Hans Zimmer, of course.
Oh yeah. We always have Hans in the background.
And the rabbit.
So how's everybody doing? What have you been up to? Anything in particular?
Could you repeat the question? Folks may have seen that the book Inspire the Music with Roland has been announced. It's going to come out later in the summer. It's going to be a really big book with a lot of really cool stuff in it, and the level of research we're doing for it is unprecedented for any of our previous books. So yeah, I've been working hard. And also doing other stuff, and no music. But next weekend, I'm going to be playing a live festival in Asheville, mountainskies.live. Tune in and watch me make a fool of myself in front of a worldwide audience.
Brilliant. Sounds great. Dave, have you been up to anything interesting?
Well, apart from rehabbing my face, as some of you can see, I'm missing the front. I'm doing my Mike Tyson imitation, right?
Yeah,
That sort of a thing. My wife's called me Cletus and likes it when I go, "Hey, how you doing out there today?" It's pretty great, isn't it?
You got a real pretty mouth.
That pretty mouth. You know, I had a run-in with Mike Metlay. So he beat me up and knocked a couple of teeth out.
That explains his look as well. Then, yeah.
You know, if you disagree with me, with Dr. Mike, you better be prepared to defend yourself. That's all I'm saying. You know.
Yeah.
Total lies.
And it's not the right; it's the left. You never see the left coming, man.
It's total lies. And Dave, you want to know a little secret just between you and me and all the people listening in?
Yeah.
You got off lucky.
Oh, shoot!
Oh.
A guy needs something to do with his hands while he's talking on Zoom. So
that's a choice. That's a choice.
I don't think that's even allowed over here. That you get done for getting it out on a camera.
I mean, there's other things you could. I could.
Yes, but those make noise. Those make noise with this. You never see me coming.
Yes, that itself may not make noise, but what you stick with it may very well make noise.
Well, you know, by then it's all taken care of.
You're watching the Extreme Violence Network. Anyway, moving on. We've got to move on.
Shucks.
And I've got to really alter the mood with this. I want to get this announcement out of the way, really, before we carry on with the show, because sadly, Klaus Schulze passed away on Tuesday, the 26th of April, age 74. And Klaus had an amazing career that spanned literally decades. What was it? 4 5 decades worth of material.
Albums are out for sure.
Yeah, he's very, very inspirational and pioneering musician, electronic musician. Started off as a drummer and then moved into pioneering electronic work, and it's a great loss. I don't know if any of you want to say anything about this before we get on to the news.
I was a fan. Years ago. I'm not sure I necessarily was a big fan of all the content that he released later in life. He released 150 albums,
Yeah.
including a 10 disc set, a 25 disc set, and a 50 disc set. But his first 10 records that he did in the 70s were brilliant. And but he's been sick for a long time. It's kidney failure. And that's why he stopped touring live. And I'm cracking out some of his old recordings and listening to them. He was a big influence on a lot of people, less so on me, but on a lot of members of the community. He was a big influence.
Oh yeah, it's a big loss. Very sad news. Right. Okay. Lightening the mood now after that very sad announcement. Spitfire are back with more additions to the wonderful Labs series of sounds. I'm just going to see if I can... This is what I'm not very good at. I'm going to see if I can share the right screen. There we go.
Drum roll, please.
Yes. There we go. I think I'm sharing it. Yeah, and... My technical abilities are chronic, but here we've got Cello Moods from Spitfire. It's the latest addition to the collection of sounds, which is absolutely brilliant because they're completely free, and anybody who watches this show probably knows how highly we regard them. Anyway, but this one's a little bit different from usual. I don't know if we can get this to play.
Born from a series of cello experiments conducted with composer Christian Henson, the Labs team approached me, Alice Allen, to take the concept even further. Working within 4 moods, I performed a series of short scores, improvising with a range of playing techniques to translate each feeling into music. This is what it sounds like. And because creativity shouldn't be complicated, we've made it into this. And best of all, it's free.
So there you go. It's called Cello Moods, and it's from Spitfire. It's quite different, this one, because it was different for me. It's mainly like phrases, so you hold notes down, and it's like a sample phrase, or I presume that's how they're doing it. But as you start to play chords with it, it really becomes quite inspiring, and it kind of, you hear little parts that you want to expand on, and that you might not have come across another way. I think it's a really useful writing tool, this particular one. Have you tried it, Dave?
No, the phrase thing, I mean, it's reminiscent to me of back when the Motif ES came out and they had those mega voices. Do you remember what I'm talking about? The Yamaha mega voices, where you would hold down a set of keys and it would play not quite an arpeggio, but like a phrase, that. Karma entered into that a little bit as well. Stephen K's tool, because it's kind of an interactive thing. And I think there are other people who will approach the same thing by playing a real simple scale and then changing to a Phrygian or an Aeolian just to change the voicing that way. But actually picking up a voice like a sample of stuff like decoupage is not something that I have a lot of experience with. I like the interactive ones. I actually really love the Karma thing. One of my favorite things in my Kronos is it's the ultimate jam along tool, especially if you call up a couple of different scenes and you can take instruments in and out. And in that respect, it's useful to me to practice my craft. But for a recording point of view, I mean, I know you can we'll take some of those scenes that you can build on a Kronos and export them to start a tune. I use it more as a practice thing when the band is not around.
Yeah. What about you, Ken? So, you've got the lab stuff, haven't you?
Yeah, I think if I remember rightly.
Hello, dog. Oh, shaped like a friend. And another one.
Come on, big one.
There
you go.
I believe in all they represent.
Come on. These are the sound is gorgeous, but because of the phrasing, it will lead you down a path that you may or may not want to go, but it will lead you down there when you use it as a composing tool. And it's actually quite nice. You sort of like get on the cart and it'll take you, and you just play with it, and it will just, like wafting down the river.
That's exactly my point. It's almost too locked in. It's like watching some going to a concert and watching some guy's computer as they're retriggering stuff. You know what I mean? It's the interactive phraseology. I like elements of that stuff, but
I often chop and change stuff like that. So I view it as material for screwing with rather than necessarily playing live. I am on record as being just a massive damn fan of the Lab series. It is absolutely extraordinary what these people are giving away for free. And if somebody were to put a gun to my head and say, you have to compose an entire album using nothing but labs, I'd probably say, well, can I at least have a reverb? But other than that, I could do it. The stuff they provide is just amazing, and it's really inspiring.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I love it.
Yeah, but the phrases are tough. The phrases are a middle ground. And I agree with Dave. I think Karma is just an amazing interactive composition tool, and it'd be nice to see more of that actually. And so the cello moods, they're not going to be everyone's cup of cold gravy with a hair in it.
You have to use it too. When I remember when Stephen K brought us the version of Carmen, it's called Sorcerer at the time when we were back in Elisis, and watching him demonstrate it as opposed to watching Brother Jack Hotop when the Carmen itself came out, because he knew where to touch. He knew how to bring most of these things in and out. In the wrong hands, it just essentially comes off as an arpeggiator. But in the right hands, what a brilliant compositional tool that is. As I said, it's these series of phrases that are keyed off the notes that you're playing, the velocities that you play, and Roland's interactive thing that's just loaded into the that comes with the Jupiter X. I guess now with the Juno, I forget what the proper name for that is, but
iArpeggiator it's called.
Exactly. It's a combination of these technologies. It's not just being locked into a phrase and finding a place to fit. And listen, in no way do I mean to degrade or denigrate this stuff. It's just for me as a tool, the interactivity that I get of having these wonderfully built grooves that these people have taken the time to do it. With the Kronos, it's like it's like you built a video game character, and it's also got to have a groove that goes with it. The drum groove and the Karma grooves have to turn on and off. And it also gives you a nice look at the sound as well. So I think it just gives a little bit more openness for expression for me in the way that I
breathe.
Breathe.
Inhale. It's called it's a thing. Breathe.
If you have an idea in mind, this is not the tool you go for straight away, or at all even. But if you're going, do something, I'd like to find, and you put it on and you just waft with it, like I say, just float down the river, let the current take you, and at some point you go, oh, hang on a minute, that's got an idea. Then you call up your BBC orchestra and stuff, or whatever.
Each time you play it, it can come up with something completely different, even though they're the same phrases. It's about when you play it and what combination you do.
And
of that thing, like it comes in. All the lab stuff comes in with two criteria: absolute top dollar quality, and it's free.
Can't argue against either of those.
Anything other than that is icing on the cake.
One of the things that it occurred to me listening to you too as well is it really is an upgraded version of something like a 16-step sequence in its own way. It's a little thing that you can play over the top to take you down its way, except with state-of-the-art sound.
I've got phrase libraries that are far more restrictive than what this is. Far more restrictive. They sound good, but they came with like 480 quid a go, 390 quid a go, and and you've still got that, locked phrasing that you can't get out. But this, it's because it's more wandering. There's a chance of you finding something. I like that. Can I have that?
It feels quite organic when you're using it, doesn't it? It's it's quite nice.
You always have the option, of once you've done a composition around, you take it out.
I do that all the time with take a little phrase off something. By the time I'm done, either maybe it comes in at the end for a couple of measures under some effect. The lovely reverb, the wonderful reverb.
Yeah, it's usually the thing that started the whole piece of music off, isn't it? And then as you get further into it, you take it out.
Reminds
V-Synth. Let me just say V-Synth.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
God. How many of my pieces of music have started off with one of those wonderful grooves, and some of it still ends up there every once in a while, but frequently not.
It just reminds me of the old cartoon of the guy busking on the street with a violin, and another street musician with a guitar walks up, and and they're happily playing together, and then somebody playing cajon, and then a guy with a string bass who is busking across the street, and then by the end of it there's like 6 guys, and they all look at the violinist and they say, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Off you go then.
So that's anyway, that's Cello Moods. That's the latest addition to the Labs collection, and that's available free of charge. And so is the player that you need to run it all. It's brilliant. We can't recommend it enough. So go out and get that.
We could talk about it for the next 2 hours. But
I suppose. Yeah,
true enough.
Moving on, Analogue Solutions, who created the absolutely humongous Colossus synthesizer, have recently announced that they've made a slim version. Let's see if we can watch this. Well, what do we think of that?
Well, what the actual? I'm sorry, just what the actual? That's what I said about the black one. That's what I said about the first one. I want to know, how is this damn thing slim? That's what I want to know. Is it just that you can push it back more towards your wall?
It was my first question as well. What's slim about that? It's pretty large looking piece. It's no Synthy 100 or anything by any stretch of the imagination. Sure,
it's not portable, is it? But I think it is. It is quite a bit smaller than the original, and I believe it's cheaper as well. I'll have to.
Price. I didn't dare to look. It's
a snip. I think it's about £23,000. I think.
I'll take 2.
No, they said. Did you see the picture? You can stack one on top of each other. In case you want to take 2.
So you can have 2. Yeah. What about you, Kent? Is this something that would interest you? Or
he's waiting to have to repair them.
Do you know what? I wouldn't mind repairing them because because when I build analog solution stuff for him, it's very nicely laid out. It's just, they're lovely to build. They're lovely to work on. I'm not in that market as much as I love Tom. I'm not in that market. I swear blind that Tom has deliberately done them white, so Ty buys one. if you tipped some white emulsion over, I don't know, anything, he'll buy it because it's white. I'm synth, every time then. So I think because the Colossus itself is based on Synth 100, so it's got all the table and the doobies. That looked like it was just like a wall one, which would make it slimmer because the Colossus comes out about, I think it's about 4 foot from the wall altogether.
Yeah.
From the back to front.
That's like a third of my studio.
Yeah, you need a big studio.
Only a foot deep. So, but they're beautiful machines. I do love them, but just they're not my thing.
That sound.
Preset says, "Who's in that market? Elon Musk, the king of Saudi Arabia."
What about you, Dave? Is this something that is?
Oh no!
No. Any
that
interest to you at all?
That much money. Here's the thing about like some things like the Synth 100, right? The first time I saw one in person, I said, what kind of a sound could come out of that to justify that size, that shape? And I have yet to hear anything that makes me impressed, makes me want. Now, maybe I'm just not around the right person.
Yeah.
It's like you want Malcolm Cecil to demonstrate Tonto for you. You know what I mean? But at the same point, nice. But it's just not. There's a lot I could do at 23,000 pounds, man. I mean, awful lot. And if I hear a sound that, and I'm this way with the ridiculous prices people are paying for vintage synths these days in general. Sorry if it's sacrilege for some of you out there, but if I hear a Schmidt, it's at $20,000. What's coming out of that thing is it extra creamy, extra edge, extra envelope segments? I'm not getting what I don't. I'm sorry.
We had Michael Whalen on the show last week, and he's just recently sold his. So,
Mike Whalen.
Yeah.
He liked it when he got it, and I liked listening to him play it on the little clips, and I went, "That's nice. I would love to have a shot to work on one for an afternoon, but
it's like borrow one for an hour,
Yeah. Yeah. But this is, I mean, it's for big studios. It's a very limited audience for this, isn't it?
Yep.
You're only going to sell like a handful.
Yeah, I mean, these are the machines that you get when you're in a studio that has an apparent workflow. Not the machine for you. You want the one that goes preset. Thank you.
When they came out with it, or we did all the Moog modulars, the 3 different systems, when those came out, and the price tags at one of those. Who was the customer? Who were all 3 or 4 or 5 of the customers? Bitcoin guys for those kind of things. And once again, no disrespect intended for the instrument. I'm clearly not the customer for it, but some of the prices I saw come out, I was like, wow, and how many voices?
What about you, Dr. Mike? Is this a possible inclusion for Synth Gems 2?
Well, I'd have to. Oh, hell no! Think about it. Look, I actually have had a long-standing love-hate relationship with any kind of modular system. I learned on modular back in the 70s. Modular was all there was. And I got half decent, doing stuff with it. I've still got some of my old 4-track quad tapes that I did. But, I saw my first Prophet 5 in 1979, I think. And I said, holy crap, It remembers what you programmed. It doesn't need patch chords, and it can play chords. And that was it. I was done. Now I have to say now, and I've got kind of and I want to apologize publicly for anybody who's watching now or who's watching this on catch up. I was a pretty well-known Eurorack hater for a long time because it was just that it was like acid flashbacks, all those cables and everything. I just like, no, but I have to admit, thanks to my very good friend and mentor, Chris Meyer, who uses Eurorack in his band Alias Zone and is just the most lyrical musical guy. I got to say now, it's horses for courses. If you enjoy making music with it, that's awesome. If it's a meditative practice for you, that's awesome. If you're a Poindexter who gets his jollies picking up more modules and buying and selling and trading them, that's awesome too if it makes you happy. But it ain't me. You put me down on one of those things. You give me, I don't know, an 8-hour studio session. I generate probably 4 or 5 hours of audio that I then take home and use for other stuff. And Jim, to answer your question, no, I have never actually handled the famous Buchla Red panel. And Ken, I am aware of Nifty Keys because the guy who created Create Audio is actually a friend of mine. And they weren't first. Waldorf was first, but I think the Nifty Keys is a lot cheaper. Anyway, I'm done.
So basically, we've just sort of looked at that and gone, get off my lawn.
Well, you think it's that? I don't think it's an old guy thing necessarily. I mean, another thing is the the duplicatability. I had a Macbeth M5 for a while. I love the sound of that, and semi-modular too, right?
Yep.
But I want that sound. Suppose I want that sound back. And it doesn't matter. You can say, take the pictures. We know if you approach the sliders from the wrong direction, it's not quite the same, is it? That was, I admit, that was a little maddening to me. And I found that most of my exercises on the M5 were like Mike, spending these wonderful sounds, creating them, playing for a while, then going, okay, maybe recording a part with it, maybe not, but to then not be able to call it back ever again.
Yeah, and it's some people dig that. By the way, I have to answer a quick question from my Sing the Body Electric. Is there a short definition of what a Poindexter is? Poindexter is the guy who goes to a synth concert, listens raptly, comes up to the artist and says, that was the most amazing thing. It's wonderful. It's incredible. Can I see the Hammond organ you used? And the guy says, oh, well, that wasn't a Hammond organ. That was a virtual instrument. And the guy throws up his hands and says, F, and walks out because the entire experience has been ruined for him. The guy who rushes the stage, not to watch a guitar solo, but to watch someone swap the tape racks in a Mellotron. Okay. Wow. The guy who will argue, the guy who does not really understand or care what's going on in Ukraine. But if you say that you like SSM chips better than Curtis chips, by God, he'll mash your teeth down your throat. Okay. That's Poindexter. And Poindexter is one of the guys that I have to keep in mind when we work on our books, because you've got Poindexter, who's always going to want more technical stuff. And then you've got Giuseppe, who understands just enough of this to really enjoy the book, but he's not a native English speaker. So you have to be really careful about what language you choose. And, so I use Poindexter because it's just, it encompasses so many people. And, if you want to go to a Poindexter convention, I love NobCon. I really do. It's fun, but it's just like after 2 days, I'm Poindextered out for about a year.
People come into blows over the, MKS 80, V4 versus V5. And how could you even say that one was?
Yeah. It's horrible. Oh my God.
It's the Roland chips versus the originals.
Actually, when it comes to modular, I mean, Ben, how do you get on with that polymath?
I've got the polymath here, and I've got it next to the Nyborg, and I've also got the Leipzig connected up down here. I've got that conveniently near me Pro one, so I can CV and that up to that. I think they have a great sound. But I've got to agree with all of you, really, that I don't like.
Sorry, Sasquatch. Basically, a C star NT. Then, they can be. There's a certain element of malice in there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, put one of them down in front of a Yamaha Mojo 61 and watch what happens. What chips does it use? You know.
Yeah, so for me anyway, the Colossus and mainly modular gear in general is great sounding, but I need instant recall when I go back to things. So I mean, I don't suppose like any kind of sampler module would cover that, but I think it'd be a great thing for somebody to make, so you could at least sample something of what you've made.
And here's the thing. Right here, I have, and I can even reach for it to show you this. Okay, this is a stack of CDs. These were recorded by my very good friend John Duvall for me. They're all sample material. They come from the biggest surge modular synthesizer that ever existed, Fist of God. It was a 32-panel surge, and Michael Stearns only ever had 8. So I've got stuff on here that is absolutely irreproducible anywhere in the world, but it's sample material, so I can use it however the hell I want, and I don't have to have something that's literally the size of 8 refrigerators that pulls something like, I don't know, 30 amps of current.
Yeah, I mean, sampling's never going to capture all the nuances of modular gear, but it's going to give you the majority of what you've created, isn't it? You know, again, where you've just completely lost it forever.
It depends on your goal also. In terms of the learning thing, and this is one area where something like the Arturia stuff comes into play. If you just want to really learn and experiment and plug and unplug and see what happens if you do this and do that and do the other thing, it's kind of quick and easy to do it. It's in a software point of view, and then you can store them and go back and see what you did. So if your goal is as a learning experience, there are other tools that are available. Obviously, the sound is not going to be the same, but still, there are some people who approach modular really more to learn the basics of synthesis and to advanced synthesis than anything else.
Yeah, but you can get a Korg MS-20 or an ARP 2600M and do exactly the same thing, and it's probably clearer to learn. Oh, and Andrew, I'm really sorry, man. The poster is not for sale. It's a gift from the husband of my very best friend in the world, who sadly passed on last year. So no, it's cold dead fingers. Sorry, man.
Oh. It's quite sad.
It's taken down from the wall at, I think it was a show. It was 1976. They were touring for Stratosphere, and it was at Manchester Guildhall, I want to say. I'd have to pull it down and look at the inscription on the back. But yeah. So anyway, sorry, Andrew, but thanks for the $5. And folks, remember, you can hit the little button to help ProSynth Network keep the lights on. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Ben always forgets to ask people to like and subscribe.
I forget everything.
Yeah,
you know what?
You know, we love you, Ben.
I'll be honest. I'm as cool as a cucumber until I press that go live button, and then it's just like,
I know we
saw brain
three of
pours out of me ears. You know, I can't think. Right.
Adamski.
Anyway,
hi Adamski. Good to see you.
We've got another bit of news here now. Very interesting news from Oberheim, who have recently joined forces with Sequential again. As far as that's correct, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So we've had the OB6 in the past, but it looks as though we've got something else in the pipeline. So let's have a quick look at this.
No sound, Ben. There we go.
Well, we missed a bit of that. But
well,
what-
how does Tom always make stuff that sounds like Tom? That's the thing that I think kind of astounds me is that his stuff always sounds like him, which is, and Dave is giving me Skeptical Bryce's skeptical look.
No, Skeptical Bryce isn't skeptical at all. Skeptical Bryce was lucky enough to be at that historic conference at Northridge. Bob Moog's last appearance with Tom Oberheim was there, and Dave Smith was there, and Marcus was there, and I got to actually sit at dinner with those guys and listen to them talk. And one of the questions I asked Tom was, what was his favorite of all of the things that he made? And he said the X. So that's what I think we're looking at there.
Oh yeah. That's the front runner for the speculations. Is the
I mean, this is what he said to me when I asked him what, and it said the X, each one from the X8 to the 8, because the X was essentially the SEMs in kind
a box.
Yeah. And even just seeing the hint of white that's there is no doubt in my mind that that's what's coming down the pike.
Yeah, it's always been sort of his fond, wistful memory.
That's
because the thing is the XA and the 8, the changes they made in those were both for stability reasons and economic reasons, if I'm recalling right. The 8 is just much easier to keep calibrated, but you lose something.
Yeah, you see, now Dave Smith goes the opposite direction. Dave Smith hates the old prophets, the ones that go out of tune. He loves to be 3s.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I have to say that as probably one of the most unstable people in electronic music, I have to say that I like stability in my instruments. And I have to say, I think the sweet spot for me was the A. The 8 was okay, and it was funny because that was Dave Tom didn't realize that he was sending us down a dangerous rabbit hole. It was the OB8 that had a second page for the first time with hidden functions with a shift key, and I think he had no idea of what he was about to do to the world of electronic music.
Wow, that was one of his less great moments, I think. There.
Well,
Look, I've paused it on that screen there. I think with the paint job on that, it is an OBX.
It's a white synthesizer. It's a white synthesizer. Go buy it.
I hope OBX, because the OBX had one thing that the A and the 8 didn't, and that is full blown. You can hear it coming out of speakers, resonance.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it bloody sang. It was singing resonance.
Yeah.
When you get to the 8, it's thinner.
Yeah.
It's to the 8, you go,
where'd it go?
What happened, man? I've got an X downstairs that I've just finished, and she's lovely. But there's also next to it 2 A's, and then on the end there's an 8. And as you go through the process of them, the X is easier to repair.
Yeah.
And it's like new car over old car, where you can go out to an old car with a screwdriver
and wrench it.
Through the feeler gauges, and you can go out there and you can sort it. By the time you get to the 8,
there's so much microprocessor stuff
Something
going
wrong
on.
with the UART. Yeah, right.
And it relies very heavily on, well, what is the DAC doing, and is it doing it right? And let's have 2 demux circuits instead of the easy one.
Yeah, and I should also point out, Ken, by the way, in with respect to the X, the 2 A's and the 8, once again, I would like to go on record that I hate you.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me though. There's just like
no, it doesn't.
DX1s and everything everywhere.
Well, and the thing is, it's all in his downstairs toilet, and I still haven't figured that part out.
I'm still waiting for Dave to come around and collect them.
Yeah, it's a place of wonder. Kent's house.
There's maybe one down there as well. Oh,
is there?
It's the creamiest mono synth ever created by man. It really is.
Wow.
It's beautiful synth.
Yeah.
It's just Tom. Tom's stuff has a sound, and I just, he wasn't that fond of the stuff that came later, but I have to say that I owned an expander for over 30 years. And Marcus and Tom, that is such a, I got one of the very first batch, the ones that came out of Barrington before they moved production overseas. And I love that thing. I adored it.
But
The only reason I don't have it is I can't keep it working anymore. So I wanted to give it to somebody who could.
Michelle, though, wasn't it? Than it was Tom.
What?
Wasn't that more Marcus and Michelle?
It was Michelle Dwydiek. It was Michelle Dwydiek and Marcus Ryle mainly. Marcus was the guy who talked to Curtis and got them to create the special chips that it used. And everybody's like, they weren't special chips. And guess what, Poindexter? When the expander was made, they were special chips. Curtis agreed not to sell them on the open market for a year or two. So
there's the 74s and the 72s.
Yep. And the fact is, though, Tom, there was just something you could tell that Tom was looking over Marcus's shoulder just a little bit. And when they got to the Matrix 6, that was gone.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was just Tom was out, ECC took over, and everything after that was just kind of, why?
Can I just ask? I don't know if any of you know or not. But is this Oberheim is now part of the Focusrite family, or is it just a collaboration again?
Well, it's my understanding is that it's Tom, and he's working in partnership with Dave Smith. He got everybody was like, he got his logo back. He got all of his rights back, and he's going to build like one limited run of TVS Pros with his logo on it. And that's it, But he's got Dave, and he's got, Tony Karavitas, who's a great guy and who's a real force of nature when it comes to moving this stuff forward. So, and Marcus, of course. John Worthington, Dr. Mike, it's a collaboration. John, I am so happy to have you here. John Worthington, ladies and gentlemen, among many, many, many other things, creator of the coolest percussion controller ever, the Djembe. So, hi, John.
You should write a review of that thing.
Dave, F you, okay? just F you. He told me, he said, version 2 is going to be out in June. And I'm like, you know what? I'm taking that thing off and I'm putting it away so I don't hurt it by accident. And I promise you'll get your review.
My review.
Your review.
Not me. The world is waiting.
Okay. The world. Fine. F you anyway.
Yeah, wherever John Worthington is, he's chuckling right now.
So the question at this point has got to be, is it going to be a Proberheim or is it going to be a Proferheim?
Just so long as it's not a Boberheim.
Yeah. If, for instance, they did just re-release a like-for-like with slightly updated connections or something of the OBX, and it was at a reasonable price, I presume it'd be $5-6 grand-ish, maybe. Would any of you be interested in such an instrument?
The problem is
not immediately.
It's Tom. I have no room for it. I don't play nearly enough these days. The Hydrasynth keeps me more than occupied.
Thank you.
But it's Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Right brain is going, me want. And so, if it was anybody else.
I've got to say that the OBX was always a dream synth of mine, it mainly down to the people who used it and that, but it was always an aspirational synth for me.
Yep.
I've got one here you can have.
I'm just always big into what I refer to as the American power synth sound. I learned on Moog stuff. I love the Oberheim stuff. For me, even the sound that I've had out of some of the earlier Rolands, and even, I'm sorry to say, the earlier sequential synths like the Prophets, never did it for me like the Moog Oberheim.
The T8.
T8. I will make an exception for the T8, which Dave Smith will tell you to this day, and told me it's his favorite synth of all the ones he did, and the VS too. But that's a whole different thing. But
that's a whole different thing.
The Pro 1, the Pro 5. I'm sorry, I know it's sacrilegious. I had no interest in that when they came out. Still, an Oberheim. Yeah, I mean, I had an OB8. I had one of the. I've always wanted to have an X. Anytime I had a chance to play on CJ Vanston has that big beautiful 8 of his, and it's just I don't need any more synths. I want.
But two things. First of all, Mac Mac says that you should back your gain off on your mic just a little bit.
Me?
And yes, you. And no, the other Kent. Steve Elbows said something that I did not know, which is that Oberheim has extended the patent on the expander. So who knows?
Wow. Yeah. There's quite a few Oberheim products that it'd be great to see back. You know.
I want the OBM
Matrix
X.
1000 to do, you know.
The OBM. I want the OBM-X.
Malcolm Joe will come and find you and kill you.
There's no love here for the T8.
No.
Well, they're hard to service. Right?
No, we call it the T virus here. It's the T virus.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh God.
They're really hard to calibrate. Doesn't it take like 6 hours to get the calibration right all the way across the keyboard?
Well, even when you do, the thing is they use this draft excluder stuff for the aftertouch, and it's you press the key 20 times. That's it. There's a dent in it, and now everything has changed.
Yeah.
And it's like draft excluder, really?
Well, I mean. And Sonic used inductive foam, for God's sake. So not only did the poly aftertouch stop working, but you had gray dust all over your lap whenever you played it.
But oh my God, I mean, and they got these FIFO chips on the digital board.
Oh God, those are irreplaceable, aren't they?
Well, they were deleted stock when they were building the buggers.
It's what he could afford.
So one of them goes, mate, at least you can use it to hold the door open on a warm day.
Yeah.
I loved mine. I was that was the very first synth that literally hurt me. I tried it on a new stand. It overbalanced and I caught it. And my back has never been the same since.
Yeah.
And basically Mrs. Spiral said, that's it, sell it. And, I don't argue with her. She very rarely says anything about my studio, but personal injury is where she draws the line.
Yeah.
I love that typical thing of what he loves to do to those circuit boards, where on the T8, he's got a section called the phaser bank after Star Trek. But I had a tech phone me up and he goes, there isn't a phaser on the T8 though, is there? No, why? Because it's written on the book. No, don't worry. No, honestly, that's not a phaser bank. That's your filter inputs. Don't worry. It's not a phaser. It doesn't mean that.
Star Trek reference.
Well, and then Moog is putting pictures of ladders on their circuit boards now.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, that's the teaser video from Oberheim, who were collaborating with Sequential. Sorry.
Yeah, notice how much more enthusiasm there was for the Colossus.
Yeah.
Right, moving on.
Yeah. So that's teasing us at the moment. We all think it's going to be a OBX with the same treatment as Sequential's recently done with the Prophet 5 and 10.
I hope so.
So that'd be quite tempting, that one. Right, I want to try this, which is going to be hopefully a little bit different and a bit of fun. Our friends at Cherry Audio are about to release another synthesizer, and they're quite inventive with the marketing, I think. And this is
they are.
Oh yeah.
This is the latest marketing for the new synth that's coming out, and it's the Cherry Audio Challenge. Let's see if we can play this.
Changes every time, you know.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Just a little taster of what
I hang my head in shame. My first time around, I got 2 out of 6.
You know what?
I got 5.
Yeah.
What was I supposed to be doing?
Well, first of all, you see these things sitting on either side of my head?
Oddies.
Odysseys. That's correctly pronounced Odyssey, actually. Those are Odyssey MX4s, $3,000 headphones. So I sat and listened to them. But to me, it's the artifacts. You can hear the artifacts of the way the LFOs turn. And to me, the more sensational they sound is usually that's what got software.
That's what got me. I had it backwards. It's just like, oh, that's got lots of, you know.
Yeah.
More bite to the resonance, probably software. More probably software. It's overemphasized.
I could tell a difference, but unfortunately, I got it all the wrong way around. So I got 0 out of 6.
Wonderful. Perfect.
But I knew. I knew which
you got
one.
it. That's what
the wrong conclusion.
Wrong way, Norris was right.
I know. Well, I wondered. This is a little bit unexpected, I know. But if anybody fancied, because the test changes every time, I wondered if you as guests fancied to go live on the show, see how many you could get. Do you think that's? Do you fancy putting yourself in that position?
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah,
Who would like to go first? No one. Right.
Well, let's get some people in chat doing it while they're listening to us. You know?
Yeah. All right.
You know?
Well, what we can do is we can just do it between us, which we'll do it like that. Instead of like going each one doing the test, we'll just do the entire thing between us.
Sure,
and see
absolutely.
What we think.
Absolutely. And I'm counting on the man with the Odysseys because my $1,500 AKGs were taken.
Yeah, except we don't know what we're running through here, but I'll take it in terms of all that software.
Right. Let's
Okay,
go.
right. This
Let's
is
go.
challenge 1. Is which of these 2 audio examples is hardware?
A or B.
So as A. And here is B. Now,
A is. I think.
They're not the same volume. First of all, B is louder than A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking A is the hardware.
Right. Kent?
B.
You think B?
There was a bit of there was some weird ticking in the A, and maybe it's just the recording, but there was some weird ticking in the A that wasn't really there in the end.
Okay.
But the volume.
I've got Vicky helping me on production here in the background, and she's saying B as well. So
all right.
I think we'll have to go B on that one. But if it does turn out to be A, we owe Dr. Mike an apology.
No, you don't.
Okay. Can you move these? Yeah. I think that last one started off not at the beginning. This is challenge 2, A. And B. A. Everybody thinks A. Kent?
B.
Kent's going B.
Yeah.
Filter is a little bit sharper, more emphasized.
Okay, so we're going to go with A on that one because Kent's been outvoted. Okay.
Fine.
Next one's challenge 3. Let's see. There's A. And B.
The programming doesn't match up on that one. The
Not
second
even
one's
slightly. There's a use of white noise of noise in the first one.
and the filter envelope's not set right.
Yeah, not exactly right. But yeah, the B is the better program for sure.
Yeah, B sounds better, but I'm not sure. There's no way to
I couldn't agree more.
Do you want another listen to this one?
The noise
Yes, please.
alone makes it.
Give us 6 seconds. Yeah, there's no way to tell. The second one has a longer filter resonance envelope, and the first one has noise.
Slightly gated. There's a little bit of noise that's in the second one, but it's gated. The envelope gates it appropriately along with the other one, where the noise extends past what the filter closing on the first one.
So
and for that reason, I'm thinking A is the hardware.
Nah.
Yeah. I know you thought. No, you're thinking that. Vicky's saying A as well. Should we go with A on this one?
I'll go with the team on this one.
Challenge 4.
Yeah. Same sort of thing. The envelopes are different. The envelope on B is tighter once again.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Synth Addict. Now who are the Poindexters?
Yeah,
all the people
as a comparison.
Yeah, it's not really a fair comparison. Can I hear A again, please? Because
yeah, just hang on. And B. Let's have a listen to B.
B.
I want to believe it's B.
B.
Okay, I thought B as well.
And you know something? If it's the software, I want to use that piece of software.
Yep.
But that's what I was going to say. I mean, by getting people to do this, we're struggling to tell the difference in an A-B situation. Yeah. So in a mix,
it's just like,
especially if you run it through a tube preamp, and then of course you bit crush it. Yeah, don't get me started.
Yeah.
Okay. Hardware. They better send it to me, and I'll recalibrate it for them.
Right. Challenge 5. Here we go. I'll play that again because it's only 2 seconds long. That was A, and this is B.
Not programmed the same.
Exactly.
Yeah,
way tighter envelope on the second one. You can't hear any of the resonance in of the
that one's kind of meaningless.
Yeah, it's
like kick drums versus a bass thing, really.
Richard Hilton says, I feel like we're picking out the drapes. And yes, the aggregate result will be about 50% correct because anyway. I don't even know what this
depends how shit we are at it.
Let's just give it to A. Let's just give it to A and say fuck it.
On this one, challenge 5.
More envelope?
I think one.
And it's not as sort of mucky.
All right, sure. The B is
so we're saying really A.
Let's go with A. I'm in.
A is the hardware. Okay. Yeah. Right. And then this is the final one. We've got
scientific process, boys.
I can't wait for the results.
We are the Dexters, the pointy Dexters.
Right. Okay. Challenge 6. Let's take this serious, guys. Come on.
Go on.
And the serious music reinforced that. I'm going to play that again. This is A. And B.
It's A. That there's that extra little almost aliasing thing going on in the last half second.
Yeah.
B.
4K
right.
on the SSL channel. Yeah.
A for $64, please.
A.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go A. Right. But this is going to be really embarrassing.
This is.
If we got no,
I'm betting it's going to be 3 out of 6. Anybody else want to make a bet?
3 out of 6 is exactly what I figure.
Yeah.
4.
Okay. 4 out of 6. Let's go. 404. 4 out of 6.
4 out of 6. There
That's
you
not
go,
bad.
Kent, the man.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
Wrong.
Okay. I call a friend.
Sorry, two, and we'd have to throw, if we throw those 2 out that were absolutely no way you could tell.
The 2 that were absolute shite is probably the
Yeah.
That's why I said we're cheaters. Come on, no, man.
I think that's like testament to what they are bringing out, though. I think
yeah,
it is
that's
going to
the whole
sound
point.
very analog.
You go through this 2 or 3 times, and then you just suddenly stop and you go, "What the hell am I doing?" You know, the original hardware or something from Cherry Audio for what, $39?
This is why I don't A/B this stuff. Either it's useful in my song or it's not useful in my song. You know, they're not staged the same. They're not balanced the same. The programming isn't the same. Either it's useful in the song or it is not. It doesn't matter what the frick it costs.
Well, there is, you know, I mean, I don't know, Dave, this whole, you and I have fought about this for years, this whole quote, music, end quote thing. But yeah, it's just, you get to this and you listen to it and it's like, well, which one do I want? And, you know, the answer is obvious. I want the hardware because the software means I got to boot a computer. I'm kidding. But, you know, it's just.
If this test was 15 years ago, right, you could get 6 out of 6. You know, even if.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'll be able to do this. And you get 6 out of 6. And what it demonstrates is how far.
Yeah.
Software
6 years ago, one would have sounded like a CS80 and the other one sounded like a stylophone there, you know. It's like,
man, don't be dissing the stylophone. I got 2 of them over here on the shelf.
Yeah, one sounds like a Pro 1, the other one sounds like a bloke having a whiz in a bucket.
Yeah, it has come a long way. I mean, I've got to be honest. I like the immediacy of software instruments, and so I do a lot of work in the box now, and then it's only, say if we're gonna, you know, it goes from the stage where you've done the arrangements of it and you want to take it out live, then you'd replace some of the lacking sounds with like maybe the analog gear that you've got.
Thank you, Adam.
But since OBE came out, if you want some warm analog sounds, you've got it.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I have a Raven. Okay, and I don't use the Raven much for what the Slate guys wanted me to use the Raven for the mixing thing. But sitting over there, you know, in my mix position is the Raven with a keyboard right in front of it. And I can drop down any of those synthesizers, turn the knobs in real time, you know, do the focus thing where I'm pulling up the individual modules. And to be able to work like that with the keyboard right there and all the stuff right in front of me is wonderful.
Guess what?
So you're buying me a Raven. Is that it, Dave?
What was that, Ken? Sorry.
Guess what I'm sitting in front of?
Go on.
I don't use it very much for the mixing thing.
No, do I I just have that touch screen availability.
Yeah.
Totally the same thing. I mean, the effects too. If I'm calling up effects, I like turning on the knobs. I pull it to the front of that. Well, for the rest of it, I'm still doing everything in DP and console, and I don't go anywhere near. I keep wanting to take the tutorials and get better at all those algorithms and things. It's not going to freaking happen.
But where I've got the 3 monitors, because this is touch, I can do that whole NCIS thing where you can just sweep it across to one monitor and sweep something else to the other monitor. Love it.
Yeah. Wait, what touch screen is that then, Kent? What have you got?
It's a Slate Raven.
Oh, the Slate, right? Yeah.
I think it's better.
It's very high
inch, something like that.
Yeah. Very high quality, costly, but very well built.
Yeah, I think it was $1,000. I think it was. Something. But I got to go for it so you could do all the mixing, but it takes up like 3/4 of the bloody screen. So I'm not using it.
I have another one up on top of it. I want that the Raven here, one up on top of it, and then I have one over on top of my effects rack. That's where I put all my plugins over there. So like console and all the input faders and stuff is on the top one. The Raven is down here with all the controls, and then the one on the side has
Lady Aptitude. Quoth the Raven, forever poor.
Yeah. Never more.
Funny.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So that's another interesting one.
A humbling moment.
Yeah.
4 isn't bad.
4 isn't bad.
Oh God! Do you imagine if it had been 0?
Yeah, and thank you, Matt. Yes, 71 watching, 29 likes. Come on, people. Click the little button for God's sake.
I've got to get this disclaimer in. When I got 0 out of 6 before, I was using my laptop speakers, and I was next to the TV where FIFA, whatever year it is, like was blasting out at full belt. So
sure, Ben.
I could be excused.
Sure, Ben.
In that situation, it was a wonder you didn't get -5.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think I did all right.
You know, Ben, we'll give you that.
I still want to say God bless the Cherry guys. I love that stuff. I have a quadrant now. And even, how a buddy of mine got up on Facebook, how close is it to a quadrant? I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, it's close enough so that there's no goddamn reason to own a Quadra anymore.
Yay!
Because those machines are just, oh my God. Love the sounds. But, who thought it was a good idea to have the keys sticking out so that they tear off when you're trying to road it on and off stage?
Yeah, there is basically a peace conference in North Korea.
It's Spong for the win.
Oh God.
So anyway, that's a bit of genius marketing again from Cherry Audio, and expect an imminent new synth release from them. And from what we can see from these examples, it's going to be pretty impressive, I think.
Keep up, and if you guys are listening, keep up the good work. You are doing it so right. Every last product you guys put out, the way you put it out, your marketing.
We love you, Dan.
Yeah, man. And Miss and the rest of you guys are just doing a fabulous job.
Amazing stuff. Keep it going.
I think we've got Dan from Cherry coming on as a guest in a few shows time, so we'll be able to tell him in person then. Right, the next news, the next news is Reverb.
Son of a bit.
Reverb have added my collection to user accounts. I don't know if you Reverb users. Or...
I every once in a while, when I've got something that I know is going to sell for way more than it's worth, I'll put it on Reverb.
Yeah,
but now that I've cleared out all my vintage stuff, I'll buy from there, but I don't sell.
I sold a boatload of stuff on it last year, right before the Etsy thing, when it was still 3%. They were just taking 3%, and we were moving through stuff left and right. My wife was loving it. Every day there was another box, just ready to go, and it was great. And then the Etsy thing kicked in. It kicked up to 5%. The shipping thing can get a little bit weird depending on how you sell. So I haven't done any selling there for quite a while. Although last year, man, it was a godsend.
Yeah. I mean, the price of some of the things on there, you'd wonder how anybody could afford to have a collection of things that they want to buy. It's got to be only one that you're picking from it, really. We've got a video here anyway, explaining it in a little bit more detail. Just let's have a quick watch of this.
Welcome to Collections on Reverb. Keeping track of your music gear, including its value over time, has never been easier. Building your collection is simple. First, add gear you've purchased on Reverb by clicking Add to Collection from your Collections page. But don't stop there. Complete your collection by adding gear you've bought elsewhere. Just click Add an Item. Add an item from scratch, or find your gear on Reverb. Show off what's unique about your collection by adding photos or personal details like your favorite settings. And now you're all set. Gear added. Then, when you're ready to make room for something new, simply click List for Sale to sell a piece of gear from your collection. Building your collection is easy on Reverb.
I like the Rickenbacker 4001 in the last half second.
It's not like they're blatantly collecting metrics on people or.
Oh no! Absolutely not.
Tell us what you bought and what you want to buy, but tell us what you've got as well.
Tell us what you've already got. Yeah,
we're going to take any advantage of or be able. Jesus Christ, I cannot believe the information that people volunteer.
I know. Yeah, I don't think I'll be bothering with that. But people do love to show off the gear, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Taking a picture is one thing. Making individual listings of each one along with the value. How long you
Please rob my house.
Yeah, somebody actually said that. What is the point of this? Smugness? Onanism? Wow, somebody actually used onanism correctly in a I'm impressed.
Well done.
We've got an educated bunch watching this, you know.
Yeah, well done you, Sasquatch.
Googled.
Yeah, probably.
But you know, it's just I don't know. The problem is the whole reason reverb came along originally is because, let's face it, eBay, if you sell something on eBay and your buyer stiffs you, you're screwed. Okay. eBay is so friendly to the buyer and so hostile to sellers. I had a friend who sold a loaded Korg Triton, and the guy got it, tore out the Moss board and the other expansion boards, and said to eBay, "This guy lied. He sold me an empty Triton."
That's not very nice.
And he had to, so he lost all these expansion boards, and he had to take back the synth and pay for shipping. So that's why reverb came along, because reverb at least has arbitration.
And then, but then there is the little modification where, speaking as the guy who works for manufacturers, where the dealers decided it was going to be a good idea to sell their stuff on reverb as well.
Well, yes. And all of a sudden, poof.
That took it to a whole different ball game, didn't it?
Well, yeah, it really did.
It's funny. I tend not to sell stuff. I just give it to people.
I've been starting to do that a lot. I've been starting to do that a lot. I've got a local educational program, and it's just like, what do you guys need? You know, for the really, really expensive stuff, I'll take $25 or buy me a pizza. But for most of it, just use it.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course you get the kids going, "Ew, it's 15 years old." But
but it's this thing about why would I be so self-absorbed to have gear lying around the house that I'm not using, gathering dust to settle on, when you can give it to somebody who actually needs it.
Yeah,
actually physically really needs it. You go, boom, there you go.
You know, thank God my finances are at a point where I don't have to think about selling a piece of gear to make the rent. You know, I was there for a while, but now it's just like, you know, if somebody can use this stuff, let them have it. Just, you know, and ask them in return, send me an MP3 of what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm good.
And or pass it along to somebody else.
And pay it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because I had a telephone. It'd make you laugh. I had a telephone call today from a lady asking me, "Do I do saxophone repairs?" I said, "No." What made you think that? She goes, "Oh, I typed in saxophone repairs and KSR restorations came up." I went, "Fair dues." I said, "So what's wrong with it?" She goes, "Oh, my hands. I've got arthritis in my fingers, and I can't push some of the valves down the bottom." I went, "Oh, like that." I said, "How long have you had arthritis?" And she goes, "Oh, ages now." She goes, "I'm 84." And I go, "And you're playing saxophone? Rock on, girl, right?" And she goes,
"Yeah."
I said, "Look, let me Google it. I'll see if I can find somewhere." And I found somewhere in Mitcham, which is about 10 miles about the other way. And I gave her the number, and she went, "Oh, thanks very much." She goes, I'll see what they can do. And she literally phoned me back about 10 minutes later, and she goes, "Oh yeah, they can, but I can't drive up there because my car's not working." And I said, "So tomorrow, Fiona's going to this woman's house to collect her and the saxophone and take her to Mitcham to get her saxophone fixed, and then bring her home again." And it's like,
you know, but you know, these are the kinds of things that give me hope for humanity, right? You know, once in a while you do this, and you never know when it's.
So I mean, she was saying about, my husband died about 18 months ago, and he would have driven me up there and everything like that. Okay, poor little cow on her own. And her source of joy is this saxophone, and her arthritis is stopping her from playing some of the other notes. And I'm going, no. We're coming to help you.
That's the right attitude. That's the way to do it.
That's not it. Yeah. But I mean, I don't want to make money all the time for the sake of making money. I like working on the gear some of the time, depends what the gear is. And yeah, you make money and all the rest of it and blah, blah, blah. But you don't have to be a tight-ass bastard 24/7, do you? You know?
Well, it depends on who you're talking to.
And it depends on what you want out of this game, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's the trick is not he who dies with the most toys wins. The trick is he who dies with the most broken and used up toys wins.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to glide across the finish line in mint condition with a sleek Simonized job all over the chassis. You want to Tokyo drift across the finish line, spraying gravel and dirt with dings and a broken windshield, and just like, that was a ride.
Believe me, my wife knows that. She says anything that we have to buy for this house, it has to be Bam Bam proof.
Because the Crisis diesel, and she's only doing little trips in it, and I do tiny trips in it, and it needs every now and again it needs a blast and get all the crap out of the back. So a blat up to Mitcham, the car will love it. So win-win.
Yeah. Sounds good. I missed some of it because I had to go and polish a pigeon, but I am back now.
Actually, to go off on a slight tangent on this one,
sharing.
I can't understand the people who pay extra to get a brand new guitar, and before they take delivery of it, pay a couple $1,000s extra to have the manufacturer screw the guitar up for them.
Yeah, relic
Yeah.
version.
Oh, relic. And I'm like, you don't understand. If there's a mark on that guitar, there should be a story that goes with it. If there's no story, some drunk chick fell into this thing and bashed the crap out of it, or I fell off the stage, or this was reattached. That's nowhere near as much fun. The idea of they took this thing and they intentionally, with a blowtorch and a bunch of things, relic. Can you imagine someone doing that to a synthesizer? Let me take this out of the box. I'll bang it up a whole bunch for you first. Bend some keys, put some cigarette burns on, and charge you $2,000 more.
I think that's a service I could provide.
Don't laugh, Kent. There may be money in that.
Oh, there's probably money in it, you know. Then all you have to do is make up a couple of lies. Oh, that cigarette burn, that was Klaus. May God rest his soul.
I had one guy I worked for, I swear to God, tell me in the relicking process, what he did was take a bass, strap it to a sound table, okay, and then play recordings of himself playing the bass through the table so that the wood resonated for 100 to 200 hours, you know, so it actually, as if it had been played for that long. Who thinks like that? Who wants to pay for that? I don't get that. And he has customers for this.
I mean, I can give a slim fatty to the dogs to play with for a couple of hours. That should do the job.
Oh, yeah.
I go, there you go.
All right. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to go off the tangent. I just saw the opening. It was right there.
Yeah.
I'm still
Low-hanging fruit, baby.
Yeah.
Right, well, that's Reverb adding my collection to accounts now, whether that's just a way of obtaining your data or a nice, convenient option that they've given us.
Survey says.
Yeah. Okay, right, this next one. This is Ableton's Learning Synths. It's that I wasn't aware of this. I've got to be honest. I'd never seen this before, but it's a really great little program, and I'm tonight's running off Robbie's show notes, who isn't with us tonight because he's gone watching China Crisis. So
as one does,
yeah, he's just mentioning the updates to this, but I'm discovering this for the first time, and I think it's a cracking little program. Basically, Ableton have created this site called Learning Synthesizers, and it starts from the absolute basics. Of sound design, really, but you get the different. It starts off very, very basically with just things like amplitude being mentioned and pitch.
What's with the room reverb? Is the room reverb built in?
I don't know. Is it coming from my room?
There's room reverb on all of them. It's varied. The first one was worse.
Right. I'm not sure about the reverb, but I will say that there's a couple of little touches on this when it gets going, and you can see as you step through the different aspects of it, it gets more and more complicated. But there's just a couple of, I bet I can't find them. There's a couple of little touches that I think are just amazing. One of them was.
Oh yeah.
One of them was the modulation one, and I'll just see if I can find this. As you can see, it's going through envelopes. You can touch all these, and if you play it in conjunction with the sound, you can. Woo! I think it's really cool the way that it explains everything.
And I have to say, I've never seen this before, but I am so not surprised because Ableton has always done this. This education side thing because they don't have to sell their shit. Okay, pardon my language, because the kids are all going to buy it anyway. It's Ableton Live, but this way, at least, it's good karma, really.
This is I think, like one of the best explanations of modulation ever. It's just that simple. It's great. It's really good. And there's an equally as good one for filters. I know I'm faffing, but I didn't have this lined up in advance. I don't know if. Oh, the B's nice.
Ramp generator. Look at that. That's great.
It's just great fun. This should be used in schools. This definitely.
It absolutely should. I remember the first time seeing a digital performer showing me the compression where the knee was, and the little ball would come up, and then once it got past the knee, it would behave differently. And all of a sudden, they went, "Oh, I totally get it now that I can see what's going on there."
Yeah, I used to teach music technology, and this would have been brilliant for explaining synthesis, especially this filter one. This is great. This. It's just
that's genius.
Clever.
It is.
It's brilliant.
And gating too in its own way.
Yeah. It's that good.
It's genius.
Well, they've added some new features, and I think just let me consult my show notes here.
I think even I've just learned something.
It's really good.
What that you can get away from the music in the disco ball by closing the door?
Yeah,
very handy.
You know what?
Now,
50 years ago.
As part of the course, it now includes audio capture as well. So there's a section on audio capture, if you know. But if you're trying to get, if you want to break away from the presets and you need to go from complete basics all the way through, this is priceless. It's
brilliant.
Great,
absolutely brilliant,
really good. Yeah, and no, that's it. Unless anybody's got anything to say about that, was you aware of that before, and any of you, or because I wasn't, I'd never seen it.
No, brilliant, well done.
Yeah, it really is. Full props to Ableton. Gerhard, if you out there, call me. I miss you.
Also, to me, and I've said this to almost every manufacturer I've been lucky enough to work for, if you can be the source of education for your customers, it's
Yeah.
as valuable, if not more valuable, than pitching them on the products. You're the one that showed them how a compressor worked. You're the one who opened up that door.
Yeah.
For all my
Exactly.
whole life long, I've been too embarrassed to ask the difference between a parametric EQ and a graph, stuff like that, or resonance filtering and how that is. So someone who makes it that possible for people to understand that, it's like giving gear to the students at the music schools.
Exactly.
They're with you for life. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
And there are lots of ways, that people can do this. I mean, I know this one idiot who writes a series and edits a series of educational books about various synthesizers and stuff. And, I mean, you'd never figure that something like that would work, but there you go.
It's very, very educational.
Yeah.
Right. Before we move on to the final news topic of the night, I just wanted to say that the ProSynth Network, it is only made possible by your donations, and you can donate via the super chat, via the link that's on screen now. And we've done things with it, like we've improved microphones, because if you watch the early episodes, they were pretty shocking, and they're getting better and better, and that's all through your support. We don't use the money for anything else.
And for
I hear you
education,
got a little bit of boost from the microphones as well from one of the companies.
Yes, we did.
And we've also
is it the cloud lifter? Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got mine over here.
I love my ZI. Absolutely love my ZI. And we've also been able to devote money to educational efforts, like getting Kent to put his microphone in the right way.
Yeah.
Don't talk.
Well, another way that you can donate to us in a way is by purchasing the merchandise. As you can see, I'm sporting a ProSynth Network polo shirt, and my co-presenter is fashioning the very, very stylish hoodie. You can see that it's all gone a bit pear-shaped there. But you can see...
Look at this. It's pronounced Igor.
Exactly.
Well, they were wrong then, weren't they?
Thanks, Fro. Thank you, Rick.
Brilliant. So they're available through Viper Graphics. If you search for Viper Graphics on Facebook, they're a member of the ProSynth Network group. They handle all that for us, and really, really speedy delivery. And those hoodies were only ordered like the day before you got them, Mike. So it's really good. So whatever help you can give us, we appreciate everybody's help. You don't have to give us money. Just liking and subscribing the show's enough. But if you wanna help keep us on the air, then we are more than willing to accept your very kind donations.
I love that.
I am now Ken Tulio.
For my DCFs.
Did you say it? Ken Lewis' suggestion just went by. Hans Zimmer has to get ProSynth Network gear.
Oh, that's a point.
Yeah.
He does. Points for Ken Smith. That's for the win. Sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Spong. I see that coming.
I gotta get myself one of those hoodies. I really do.
Yeah. The really good quality as well. So I'm just queuing up the final news story of the show, and I've left where I thought had the most discussion to not being included at all, because I can't find the tab. So if you just talk amongst yourselves about Roland's new JUNO-X while I try and find some bump about it to show everyone. Well,
what I can tell you from, what we've done with Roland while we're working on the book is the JUNO-X is basically it's a Zencore machine like the Jupiter X was. The implementation's a little different, but the main thing I think that they're really going to Viper, put your website or I'll contact you later about the hoodie. Anyway, but the basic thing about the JUNO-X is it's another form factor. One thing that people don't really realize about Zencore is it's the same engine. And all of these machines that support Zencore just give you a different user interface and a different way to interact creatively with the sounds. But you can get a Zen core on the Jupiter X, the Jupiter XI. It loads into the Axe Edge. You can have a Zen core keytar. The Aerophone Pro and the AE20. You can have a Zen core wind controller. And what they're really doing is they're looking for ways to increase and I think really sort of optimize the playing experience and the sense of joy. A lot of people like the Juno 106 in terms of how it's laid out. And what they've basically done is they've taken the Zen core synth and they've made it look like a 106 because that people are going to be comfortable with that.
Yeah. I've got to admit, like when I first saw it, I thought, it's another one of them, the Juno G or whatever. I wasn't impressed with things being PCM based and supposedly being a Juno, but the Juno it was originally an affordable analog polysynth, and I think like the Juno-X is that reimagined for today's market. I think that they've done a pretty good job of this. I'll just put this video on and have a quick look at some of the features.
I'll come back to ACB after the video, guys.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm David from Roland, and this is the Juno-X. Now, many of you vintage fans might recognize the design since it's heavily based on the classic Juno 106 from the 80s. But this is not just about appearance. Now, the Juno-X comes preloaded with a wide range of classic synths inside the synth called model expansions. So not only do you get the look and feel of those synths, but also the character of the sound. Now, on top of this, it's also equipped with our newest and highly versatile Zen core sound engine, which makes it possible to exchange sounds between the Juno-X and other Zen core instruments.
Yeah, so that's just a basic overview of the features. But basically, the Juno-X model is the Juno reimagined for the 21st century. That's got things like a saw wave super saw wave included in it now. I think it's got a maximum of 256 note polyphony.
Well, then they're not using ACB. Then they're not using ACB.
Hold on a second. The thing's got the 60 engine in it. It's got a 106 engine in it. It's got a 5080 in it. So it could be talking about that. It's got another RD in it. So it could be talking about that when it's talking about the PCM and the polyphony. I mean, it's real similar to the Jupiter X, which I've got in the other room. So
yeah. I think the model synths, if you load the Juno 106, as from what I could make out, those models are 32 note poly.
That tells me that it's not ACB.
No, it's definitely not. But I always thought that Zencore was
it's great.
Inferior slightly to the ACB, but I've watched tons and tons of videos on this thing.
In a mix.
Yeah, it sounds great.
And that's not what you do with these things. I mean, like I said, I have an X, okay? I so rarely use one layer. I mean, come on. Why in God's name should I use one layer? I can use a Jupiter and then another Jupiter and then put a little 5080 in there and then put just a touch of JX8P into the thing. You just split them left and right. Why shouldn't you? I find so rarely that I'm just using one layer, if two. To have all that power and stackability, if nothing else, take the Jupiter 8 and then another Jupiter 8 up on top of it, pan them left, right.
Yeah.
That's what that thing is all about. And exactly like you said earlier, with the familiar layout of the JP8 pretty much that you had, and then this bitch and distortion and effect section all the way at the end.
Yeah.
I love that thing. I love it to bits. It's a desert island synth for me.
It's also got 3 filter types as well.
Yeah.
It's got an R, an M, and an S.
Yeah.
So you can kind of work out what they are.
Yeah.
And then of course the model expansions all have their own filters, so you can mix and match. You can create these weird circuitry synth mashups.
It's a ball. And I put a JD800 into the thing the other couple of months back. I love that. You kidding me? Millennium up on top of a Jupiter 8? Come on, man. That's a ball.
Yeah, man.
It sounds great. And then they went and put speakers in the bleeding thing. Did they put the little speakers in the Juno, do you think?
They have, yeah. They have put speakers in it. They're
Oh
very,
my God,
very concealed. I think, yeah. I know it was one of the things that put me off when I first heard about it. But the more I've looked into this synth, the more I think, it makes sense.
Yeah,
The speakers make sense.
And they're starting to do a lot with battery powered stuff. I mean, their whole thing is you should be, if somebody and literally Junichi Miki, the until recently president of Roland, talked about how he went on a car trip, packed car full of friends, and one of his friends brought a ukulele, and he was like, "You're kidding me."
They're
And
awesome.
then they started playing the ukulele and singing along, and he's like, having something that's completely portable that you can make music with anywhere, it's an amazing thing. And since then there's been this thing, can you build it with batteries, and can you put a speaker in it? All of the boutiques have a little speaker underneath, and they'll run on batteries, because the whole thing is, why shouldn't a keyboardist be able to sit down and play anywhere?
Ben at Museums makes a valid point. It's an HS60 then, isn't it?
Yeah.
And by the way, people still haven't figured out that what an HS60 is, and they're selling for half the price.
It's just 106 with speakers, man.
It's a 106 with speakers in it.
Same thing with the Akai AX60. Remember the Akai AX60? Basically also a Juno 106.
Yeah, but we're
not done say anything about the Akai AX80, which is a whole different synthesizer with that Akai.
Yeah, but the 60, the 60 had an advantage. You didn't have all those ugly sliders in the way.
Yeah.
But we digress.
Yeah, well,
badly.
So I've heard a couple of people griping about the price of this, and I think you get the Juno-X, and you also get the Juno-6, Juno 106, the XV2080 presets, and an RD piano for about £1,700 pounds.
The 5080.
It's a 5080, sorry.
And the 5080 is insane.
Yeah,
the 5080 is insane. The original one was literally designed for a post-production studio to never need another synthesizer. It had digital I/O. It had word clock sync, so you could use it with video. And in fact, they wanted you to be able to do 32-part MIDI arrangements, so they put an extra 5-pin DIN port on the back.
Right. And that's the finisher. I'm telling you, the first three, and if you look at the JPX, the Jupiter, the JX, and the SH101, the rest of that, and then just in case you didn't have enough firepower, here, have another 128 voices, and all of these PCM samples to just be able to layer and stack and all the rest of that. It's a marvelous tool to have as a finisher.
Yeah. For me personally, I gig with the Electromantics, and this, with it having the audio interface built into it as well, it's got a vocoder built into it. It's just the perfect second keyboard for me. I just think it's ideal.
What are the dynamics on the keyboard? Are they velocity and mono aftertouch?
That's what I want to know, because if it's that same keyboard that's in the Jupiter, that is a hell of a keyboard.
I'm not sure if it's the same keyboard, but it has got monophonic aftertouch and velocity.
No, that's fine. Paul, listen, it's going to be a long time before everybody in the universe uses Poly AT. And, frankly, Zencore isn't really optimized for it, so I don't think there's really any loss there. But, I've owned a 60 and a 106, and I like them. I didn't like them enough to keep them, but I like them, and I really respect what people have done with them over the years.
Yeah.
And for somebody who's jonesing for a 106 and doesn't want to pay vintage prices, I mean, my God, a 106, what is a real 106 even going for now? $2,000, $3,000?
You can get a relatively nice-ish one for about exactly the same money as what this is.
I couldn't get rid of mine fast enough, honestly. For me, I had a 106 that I had to. It was $9.95, and I needed a synthesizer. I could never use it without the chorus button for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah, but that's true of all the Junos.
Sure, but
yeah.
And the second the JX8P raised its head, that 106 was
gone
there. I didn't give a shit that they're saying that they're going digital control and all this. And
the AP was great.
I love my
amazing.
I still have an MKS 70 in the other room. Don't get
me wrong. When you cut through all the ball, right? People were going mad for the 106 mainly because they couldn't afford the 60.
Well, no, people were going mad for the 106 because it had better MIDI and it was cheaper.
106 came out the same time as the JX3P. Both of them
No,
were
but that was the big
time.
difference. The JX3P had the worst MIDI implementation of any keyboard in history. It only understood
except
note
for the
on,
Prophet
note
600.
Off. No, it only understood note on, note off. Even the Prophet 600 was better.
The Jupiter 6 had MIDI as well, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
But the 106,
I think
the
it was
106
pretty basic on that.
transmitted the 106 transmitted all kinds of MIDI from the front panel.
Yeah, but I see, it had a little switch in the back. Remember the switch in the back had 3 different MIDI modes, and
Yep. And the thing is, I mean, I'm not knocking the 3P. The only boutique,
I never knew what that did.
Mono 1, Mono 2, and Poly 1 and 2, and it was like a high note priority thing.
The thing is, I'm not knocking the 3P. I love the 3P. There's a reason why the 3P is in Synth Gems 1 and none of the other Junos are. I love that box. And I've got, right here, I've got the modern version, and this thing is, it's got all the MIDI. And, I would never own a real one because you just can't do anything with it unless you install one of those aftermarket boards. That was why the 106 was so big, because the 60 the 6 and the 60 didn't have MIDI at all. DCB to MIDI was super limited. So, and all of a sudden you had something that was a good MIDI synth. And yeah, it didn't sound as good as the 60 in my opinion, but that's why it was so popular. It's because, it was the new direction.
I had to start repairing them before I could tell the difference between Poly 1 and Poly 2. Because I went, Poly 1, yeah, Poly 2, sounds the same.
What was the actual...
On Poly 1, if you press one key at a time and go up the keyboard, it's always playing voice 1.
So it's a cycle thing, right?
Yeah, so if you press Poly 2, it cycles through the 6 voice.
6 is why I'm sure.
Yeah, so it's retrigger versus voice cycling.
Yeah.
So if you just kept hitting the same note, you just get the same voice every time.
Useful for if you're doing a drum thing and you want the thing to recut off each time specifically, right?
Oh yeah, Matthew Weiner brings up the fact that they do have the 106 does have this habit of losing voices permanently.
Oh, yeah, I know about that.
Oh yeah,
Now
I've got a stock full of them.
And that's the thing. People look back at these and they're like, "Wow, all this great vintage electronics." Yeah, when one of your potted ICs goes up in flames, what are you going to do? There are literally people who bought back when they were before they went nuts with price. They buy 3 or 4 Prophet VSs and they'd keep swapping the dying chips so that you wouldn't you'd have one that still had 8 voices and the others would have 6, then they'd have 4, then they'd have 2, and then they would have none. It's just that's one thing. I love the immediacy of hardware, but underneath the front panel, give me code. Give me code, because it just, it works. And, anyway, I'm a big believer in stuff that's welcoming and stuff that works.
I've got to say, I've done a lot of research on this, but one for the show and the other because I'm interested in it, genuinely interested in it. And the more I look into it, just the better it seems. That I've heard A/B comparisons. I know we're not too bothered about A/Bs, but I've heard
considering
A/B
what just happened.
Yeah, I've heard A/B comparisons with the Juno 106 and the model, and it is very, very, very close. And I think it's well close enough for what anybody needs to do with it. I just think
in that video they use factory patch 22
yeah,
right at the beginning, and it is absolutely identical.
yeah. I think they've done a belting job here. Roland have come in for a lot of stick in recent years, but I think they're onto something now. I think we just need to catch up.
And you know, the in my opinion, I think what we're going to see, and probably about 5 years from Roland, is we're going to see processors that are powerful enough to do ACB this way. It's not just going to be in the boutiques. They're gonna go back, and these models are always going to be refined. These models are always going to get better. We are near as nothing right now. We are near as nothing. And in 5 years, you know,
It won't matter. It won't matter anymore. It will be.
It already doesn't matter.
But I mean, it really wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to think twice about, should I get rid of this old thing that keeps failing on me, or get one of them.
Well, unless you're Poindexter.
Yeah.
I've got to say as well, with sequential re-releasing the Prophet 5, Oberheim possibly re-releasing the OBX, and this isn't a re-release, but it's a reimagining of a classic instrument. I wonder if Yamaha's going to pay any attention and just revisit some of those classic synths.
We can't be far off now from when they've really got to sort of like really sit down and think and try and come out with something new.
Well, you know, the thing that I've noted from Music Player Network, musicplayernetwork.com, sign up. We'd love to have you. Is that Yamaha has really been sort of nailing it with some of their new performance-oriented instruments. The Mojo 61 organ is just an amazingly playable machine. I don't have one, but Dave, I believe, does and loves it. Am I wrong?
Dave who? You talking about me?
There's no other Dave in here, so I guess I must be
First
talking
of all,
to you.
you were talking about a Yamaha Mojo 61, and to the best of my knowledge, Yamaha didn't make a Mojo 61, so I was feeling stupid.
Well,
I know Krumar made a Mojo 61.
Oh, you know what? Shoot me.
That was a whole bunch of time, so I just thought I was completely lost.
Just shoot me. Just shoot me. Just shoot me.
Or you're going to lose another tooth.
Yeah, well, Yamaha's is the YC, yeah.
Sorry, both of them have been talked about a lot on MPN, and I got them mixed up because you would never call me an organist.
Yeah, I don't have any Krumar keyboards anymore.
Okay. So how are you liking the YC61, since that's more on topic?
I don't have a YC61. I have an A100.
You have an actual A100?
I have an actual A100 that Ken Rich modified, so it has a separate 1/4-inch out and another jack, so I can put in a foot switch to Leslie trigger it. Yes, and I have Leslie 145. I love my A100. Yes.
Oh, here's an interesting comment from Wagyu. They've done a YC and a CP in larger versions so far. The Montage and Mod X are basically a big boy reface DX. So where's our big boy CS?
Wow.
And you know, I've got one right here, actually.
yeah. I suppose, yeah.
I like C45s because I steal the parts out of them to repair CSAs.
Right.
The ribbon.
We need another synthesizer that's got 4 redundant preset,
Oh yeah, four miniaturized front panels, baby.
Exactly. Learn from Hammond, right?
Yeah. Well, one thing that I have picked up on about this that I'm not too keen on the Juno, going back to the Juno, is if you put this probably applies to you, Dave, as well in your Jupiter X. I don't know, But if you say download the JD800 model, for instance, and put it into the Juno-X, if you power cycle 30 times, it won't work without you connecting to the internet. So that, yeah.
It wants to talk to the mothership.
Where are you hearing this?
It's I've seen it a few places. The same thing. It's only if you buy a lifetime license for, say, the JD800, you don't have to do it. But if you're on the monthly subscription and you're out gigging with your Juno-X, you're gonna have to connect to the internet to keep it working continuously. Those models, obviously the Juno-X and what was pre-installed on it is going to still work.
Somebody typed it when it went by. I forget who it was, but I'm with them. I hate subscriptions.
Oh, I hate them. Hate them.
I freaking
Won't
hate
use them.
subscriptions.
Won't use them. Yes, Sasquatch. Isn't that called ransomware?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm not
I think
a fan.
that's for me. That's the only negative in the whole thing. Because sometimes, like, you know, you've got gigs on the bounce, and when you get back, you don't you don't necessarily get the gear out that you're gigging with, because it's hassle. You know, you just use what you've got here, and then you could go out gigging again. You get to a venue, you got no internet connection, and that vital sound that you needed for song 4 it isn't there anymore. It's a bit weird. But
yeah, I just, you know, I'm just looking at this and going, I have known too many people who just have something time bomb out in the middle of a session. You know, Pro Tools used to be horrible for that. Plugins from companies like Steinberg, you know, you get, or Waves, you know, your license picks exactly the wrong time to die on you. And I just, you know, I'm sorry. When I pick up and turn on a piece of music gear, I want it to effing work.
Yeah. Maybe this is something that'll be sorted further down the line, because other than that, I think they've come up with an absolute blinding instrument here. It's one of, I'm not that familiar with the Jupiter X, Dave. So, I mean, this might just be a stripped down version of that, but to me, it's
precisely. I said that is. I mean, I don't. There's nostalgia for the form factor, you know, and they go, and there's that wonderful chorus. Whatever. To me, I haven't seen anything in the 6 there that's in the Juno that I haven't got access to in the Jupiter.
Yeah,
I love that thing. You want to hear true sacrilege? I would keep the Jupiter X over a Jupiter 8. I had a Jupiter 8 for a very, very, very long time.
That's not sacrilege. That's common sense.
You know, 100 out of 100 times. Sorry.
Yeah, I think,
you know, the only JD800 I would keep would be one that, like the one Houston Singletary modified.
It doesn't have the red glue.
No, it doesn't have a keyboard. He sawed the keyboard off. He sawed the keyboard off, 3D printed a new front of the case, and put wooden end cheeks on it. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen.
Wow.
I was doing an interview with Rick Wakeman for Keyboard Magazine. He was complaining about it, and Naughty from Naughty's Puncture got up and he was, I can fix that. I know how to do that. I can fix that.
Yeah, I've had the red glue issue with my JD800.
Do one tomorrow.
Oh God, that's not a nice job.
Had they added the JDO? Have they put that on the JD08 where it starts oozing out from the buttons?
Funny as shit. Wouldn't it?
They should do, yeah.
you know, have it ooze out from the buttons. I know that they people have done, I think, YouTube videos where they've taken the promo video for the JD800 and start, like, they Photoshop in blood leaking down the screen. I mean, come on, if you're going to be authentic.
But come on, man, when that thing came out, remember the first time you saw that thing? I remember seeing it in the music store and went, oh, fuck, I want one of these.
Why do you think Ken Lewis on the software the red glue shows up? It does? Wow. But yeah, there's a reason why it's in Synth Gems. You know, people, you know, Dave, work with me here. 1986 to 1991, the dark times.
Yeah. Sure.
Single data slider, a knob, and a graphic LCD if you were lucky, and that was how people were expected to synth.
Yeah, the Korg DWs and all the rest of the
DWs and the DXs and then the M1 and the D50 and so on and so on. And then all of a sudden Roland drops this freaking bomb, and it's like, oh my God, I have controls back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was.
Oh my gosh.
It was a revelation when the JD800 came out. I was booked into a studio in Liverpool, and I'd never actually used one before. It literally blew me away. So I've just got one. Got one as soon as we came out, and I've had it ever since. But unfortunately, I wasn't aware of the red glue problem that's completely. Not completely destroyed, but severely damaged the keyboard side of things.
And then they made it better with the 990. That's the thing. It's all those people that they hosed over by making the 990. Oh, it's just the module version.
No, it's not.
No, but better filters. And we make a special analog card that only works with a 990.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't have red glue. Well. And it doesn't have red glue.
They need to do a chemical analysis on that red glue, because you can have a JD800 for 25 years, and then suddenly overnight,
right,
you clean it all off. And I don't mean remove it all. I mean just clean off what has run. Put it all back together. Never does it again. It'll only do it once in its life. What the hell is that about?
Yeah.
Is it one component? Where does it come from? It was just glue, right? It was red glue.
It's the metal weights on the keys were glued onto the keys.
Right.
Yeah. And it just starts dripping out after a period of time. Funnily enough, I had a Juno 106 underneath my JD800 when the red glue happened, and it actually all dripped out of the JD800 and landed on the 106, so it damaged two things.
Oh no!
So unlucky.
The one here, when you push middle C, you get 4 octaves.
Yeah.
They've all stuck together. But I know it's going to be a bugger, because I know the glue has made it down to the felt strip that sits on top of the pressure strip.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come off that so well. But you take the keys out and you throw them in a bucket full of acetone, give half an hour, pull them all out, wipe them down.
Yeah.
Do you have to put? I'm assuming you have to put the weights back on, right?
No. The weights don't have to come out at all. This is the weird thing. It's very rare for the weights to come out with the glue.
Oh, I took all the weights out.
No, you don't have to do it.
And then glued them all back in.
You can, but you don't really have to do it. But once you've done this process, it never ever does it again. It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. That's weird.
That is very weird. That is very, very, very weird.
I need a new membrane for underneath the keyboard, because that's on mine. Yeah, I know. Can't you use a D10 one or something? Is it one of the D series is compatible with it, isn't it?
Well, what I want to do is, like, again, when I get this bolt in...
sorry, Adamski a bit like being pissed on from the top bunk. Oh, dear.
Slowly. Yeah. When I get this Voltaire thing, I should be able to print these things out myself.
Oh.
So,
Richard, thank you for sharing.
I'll be queuing up outside your house for that one. Right. Okay. So that's the Juno-X from Roland, which looks to be a really interesting piece of equipment for a reasonable price. I think it's 1,700 quid. You get a lot for your money in that, and it's something that I'm thinking about maybe.
What's the difference between that and the Jupiter?
Front panel.
No, price wise.
Sorry, the Jupiter. How much is a Jupiter X? Jupiter.
What it cost over here.
Was it about 22?
It's 500 more.
Is that it?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's just because, again, the software doesn't get you, the circuit boards don't get you. It's the hardware.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4, 7 here.
Yeah, the Jupiter X is just, it's got more gubbins.
Yeah.
Actually, what's really funny is the Jupiter XM is the one. The whole reason the if I'm understanding this interview right, and I might not be, so caveat. Junichi Miki, was the guy behind. He really wanted a new paradigm synthesizer because Roland hadn't had one in a little while, and he wanted to know what a real game changer would be. And he talked to a lot of pros, and he said, "What do you like?" And they said, "Well, I like the Moog 1. I like some of the new sequential stuff. Why? Because you can layer these sounds to get these enormous timbres." And so that's what got him thinking about it. But the first machine, the one that was really close to his heart, was the XM, the little tiny one, because he wanted to be able to carry it around, and it has speakers, and it doesn't have batteries, unfortunately. But that was the machine that he wanted. He's glad that people enjoy the X, but the XM, he says, I live in if you've got a small apartment and you don't have room for something big, this is a machine that anybody can enjoy, and it's just as powerful as the big one. He was super proud.
Have the opportunity to pick up a Jupiter X?
I have not.
It will surprise you. It weighs twice as much as you think it does.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's because of the key bed, and they're.
Whoa! I kind of liked it. I'm sorry, I'm like none of the synthesizer you can pick up. Don't get me wrong. I love my Hydra synth, but you can pick the Hydra synth up like that. Not the Jupiter X, man. You got a big heavy piece of.
Yeah, very, very interesting what they're doing at the minute, and it's exciting times really, because hopefully this will, I like the idea of things revisited and expanded upon,
made better.
Yeah, and any niggles that you had with the old version shouldn't be there in the new one, really.
Yep.
Things needs to be improved.
Ideally not.
When I first got hold of a Juno 106, it was like you go straight to, like, obviously you go through the presets, and you're looking at the manual. This one's supposed to be a piano, and like me at the time, I did want something that could sound like a piano, and it sounded nothing like a piano, but the Juno now delivers on that kind of promise. Then it was supposed to give you a lot of different things. It's just that the technology couldn't let you at the time.
But the funny thing is that video you showed, okay, that David, whatever his name was, the first three sounds he played, maybe this is my ignorance, sounded nothing like a Juno to me. Yeah. It was way fat, way full. I saw my first one was JX, not Juno.
Oh yeah. Mine too.
Yeah.
And all right. Not that I'm saying this is making a great Instagram. This thing sounds great, but it did not make me think Juno at all. Juno was about 6 voice without the chorus circuit was not.
Yep.
Yeah, I just want to, because we're coming up to, well, we've run over a little bit. I just wanted, if I can, to mention. Where is it? I'm rubbish at this. I've lost it. There we go. This is the second collection from Marc Barnes. He's on YouTube as Angel Star Scotland, and he's a member of the Pro Synth Network. It's his second volume of sounds, and it's 32 dual layer custom performances and 64 custom programs for $6.99, and that's an introductory price. It is going to go up on May the 10th, I think. So it's great value, great collection of sounds. Marc just keeps knocking it out the park with these Korg synths. I wish that I can't benefit from this one, but I did have his wave stake patches. I hope that, I don't know about you lot, but I hope that the Modwave makes it to software form eventually. That would be, because I'm quite impressed with those two Korgs. I think they're really good. The Op6 and the Wave Stake, the software versions of them. Brilliant things, like. So, and this being added to
Dave's looking at the camera and waiting for me to react to the word wave state.
Go on, what's up with the wave state?
Where did I leave that bucket of popcorn?
I am in the middle of an instructional video series on the wave state. It's right here, just off camera. I got about halfway into it, and for various reasons, I never finished it. And because I'm stupid, it's stuck in my craw, and I have a bunch of other things I would like to be doing. So I need to get back and finish those videos. And it has been an object of much jocularity between Dave and myself.
Go to our Gear Lab on musicplayer.com and give him shit online going, so what happened to this review?
And there are people who are still coming back to my YouTube channel and going, and I was, yeah, I know.
Andrew Schlesinger was just picking on you the other day.
Yeah, well, you know what? Schlesinger's allowed.
He is allowed. Yeah. He's the man. Gotta love Brother Drew.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, I think that's a show, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me and Kent tonight, both of you. You've been very entertaining, very knowledgeable, and it's been a great show, I think.
What do you want for nothing?
Yeah.
And I love you guys so much that I came on the show without a tooth.
I know, yeah. We really appreciate that.
Is that props or what?
You know what? It's actually quite charming on you, Dave.
Yeah, dude.
I really
Right. Okay. I'm just
Ben. You've been doing great. Enough of this. My brain is leaking out of my ears, Bull.
Brother, you did an excellent job.
And I'm not very good at the operating things and trying to sound like you're not operating things. Vicky's helped me out quite a lot, and
she's awesome. Big ups to Victoria.
A lot of the things that pop up on the screens and that the banners and things, Vicky's doing that, so I don't have to worry about that. But it's when I've got to queue up a video. It's like I've not quite got the hang of that yet, but I'll get there.
Well, I'm going to ask people one more time to please like and subscribe and share and please donate and be wonderful.
Yeah.
Just be wonderful.
Thanks to the moderators in the chat and everybody in the chat who joined us.
Andrew and Sass, thank you so much, and thank you everybody. And I'm sorry I didn't keep more of a track on what was going by in chat. It goes by so fast.
I can't do it. But when we're actually doing the show and you're doing all this other stuff, I just don't even join in the chat at all. It's too much.
And Synth, it maybe kind of was.
Yeah. Robbie will be back. Robbie will be back next week, and things should return to normal. Thank you very much, Richard Hilton. I hope the gigs are going well. It's chic. And well, that's it from us. Thank you very much, everyone. And
everybody stay safe and well. And yes, Mountain Skies, it will be live streamed. So if you go to mountainskies.live, you can buy tickets to watch the whole show. There's going to be something like 9 hours of music every day, 2 days. So 30 artists, 18 hours of music. Should be a lot of fun, and we hope to see you there.
And also, of course, if I possible, get a plug-in for
musicplayernetwork.com.
Player Network. That's right. www.musicplayernetwork.com or forums@musicplayer.com. There's even it's heavily keyboard oriented. 85 to 90% of the people there are keyboard guys. We've been there for 20 years. We are where Gear Sluts and all those other forums came from. There's even a pro synth network forum. Come say hi, hang out.
And there is.
Learn what it's like to hang out on a forum that's where the inmates run the asylum.
Yeah, baby. Yeah,
I love it.
It's Arkham Knights, baby.
Kent, what's on your radar?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I lost control weeks ago.
Yeah,
honestly.
Okay. I'm gigging tomorrow night with Electromantics at the Witchwood. Where's the Witchwood? Ashton-under-Lyne for our English people in the north of England that might want to come along and watch. Witchwood, Ashton-under-Lyne. Come and give me some stick for being crap. Right, everyone. It's been lovely. And
don't forget
thank
Ramsey
you very much.
tomorrow and Geosynths and
Yeah.
Mr. Wiggly on Sunday.
Definitely, yeah. Sorry about that, guys. Forgot to mention that. Okay.
All right.
I'll see you.
Stay
See you
safe and
soon,
well,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye.